Fin 10002 Financial Statistics Assignment 2 Major Assignment by Brittany Green, student number 101830907. Executive Summary. In Assignment 2 Major Assignment, we were given the task of analysing data containing listing details of homes sold in Melbourne from January 2016 to March 2018. The data contained 17,691 sales, which were examined in the following ways: price in Australian dollars, method of sale. Within method of sale, there was property sold prior to auction, property passed in, vendor bid, sale after auction. Type, house, which was house, cottage, villa, semi-detached, terrace, a unit, duplex, or a townhouse. The seller, real estate agent, date, distance from the CBD in kilometres, bedrooms, number of bedrooms, bathrooms, number of bathrooms, land size in metres. Using descriptive statistics, we were summarising the details of the homes sold in Melbourne from January 2016 to March 2018 by using tabular techniques, summary statistics, and graphical techniques. From this, we created a dashboard with data collected from the descriptive statistics for further examination between the relationships between the prices of homes purchased, sales by payment type, types of homes sold, different real estate agents, the number of bedrooms and bathrooms. We looked at using 95% confidence intervals to explain the average land size for the selling agent Nelson and the average price for all listings sold. The confidence intervals showed us that the larger the sample we take from the population, the more accurate the confidence we have of the true mean. Interesting information taken from the 95% confidence interval included the average land size and the average price from the entire sample of 17,691 listings were much more accurate than that sample of 90 that were taken. From this, we looked at hypothesis testing. This entailed testing whether the average price paid for properties passed in is more than the average for sold prior listings, and if there is a difference in average prices for 2 bedrooms and 3 bedrooms homes based on the data. Based on the calculations made, it was concluded that both hypotheses were rejected based on the t-critical scores and the p-values. Finally, we looked at the relationship between the distance from the city and the prices that were reflective of this. Using these variables of a regression model were made to predict the distance for the listings. Introduction. Descriptive statistics are information coefficients that are summarized into a data set, which can be either a representation of the full population or a sample of the population. This report contains a data set with listing details of houses sold in Melbourne from January 2016 to March 2018. From the 17,691 sales in the dataset, different variables were taken to be summarised using descriptive statistics. From the 17,691 sales from the dataset, a sample of 90 were taken and analysed in various ways. The use of descriptive statistics was used to analyse the 9 different variables. Using tabular techniques, summary statistics, and graphical techniques, a dashboard was created using the same variables to understand the relationship between price of homes purchased, sales by payment type, sales of homes sold by the real estate agents, sales by number of bathrooms, and sales by bedrooms. The different variables were taken to be summarised, where the price in Australian dollars, the method of sale, the type of homes sold, the different sellers, dates, distance from the CBD in kilometres, the number of bedrooms, number of bathrooms, and the land size in metres. This report estimates using a 95% confidence interval the average land size for the selling agent Nelson only and the average price for all listings. Hypothesis testing and the results from prices of homes passed in and the average price for prior listings is investigated to determine if the average price for passed in listings are more than the average sold prior. And the average price variance for different bathrooms was hypothesized tested to determine whether this was in fact true. Correlation and regression looked at the distance between the relationship from the city and the price. Looking at 2 variables being the distance and price, we developed a regression model to predict the price from the distance for the listing. Further analysis In Assignment 2, Major Assignment, a data set was conducted containing listing details of homes sold in Melbourne from January 2016 to March 2018. There were 17,691 sales in this data set, which were then condensed into a small sample of just 90 listings. The 90 listings were then summarised using descriptive statistics to further analyse the data. The techniques used were tabular techniques, which looked at frequency tables and grouped frequency tables. Summary statistics, mean, mode, median, standard deviation, range, coefficient of variation, and interquartile range. Graphical techniques looked at pie charts, bar graphs, histograms, frequency polygons. The first listing detail was the price in Australian dollars, which from the report submission you'll be able to see, which kind of looked at, again, the standard mode, median, standard deviation, standard variance, kurtosis, skewedness, etc. The second listing detail was the method of sale, property sold prior to auction, property passed in, vendor bid, sale after auction. The third listing detail was the types of homes sold, house, cottage, villa, semi-detached, terrace, unit, duplex, townhouse. The fourth listing detail is the seller, real estate agent. The fifth listing detail is the dates the homes were sold. The sixth listing detail was the distance from the CBD in kilometres. The seventh listing detail was the number of bedrooms. The eighth listing detail was the number of bathrooms, and the ninth listing detail was the land size in metres. A dashboard was then created from the information collected from the descriptive statistics to further analyse a sample of 90 different listing details. The dashboard that was conducted on Excel includes the prices of homes sold, the prices of homes purchased, the sales by payment type, types of homes sold by real estate agents, sales by number of bathrooms, and sales by number of bedrooms. Confidence intervals were then conducted to establish a true mean based on both the population and a sample taken from the 17,691 listings. Confidence intervals were taken using 95% confidence intervals on the average land size for the selling agent Nelson and the average price for all listing. When looking at the confidence intervals, it is important to note that the confidence interval taken from the population is much more accurate than the confidence interval taken from the sample from the population. So the sample one that we looked at was the average land size of homes sold by Nelson from the population. And based on this, we are 95% confident, based on the population, that the average land size of houses sold by Nelson is 433.597878 metres. Looking at the data, we were provided the confidence level 95% is 23.63115989. In other words, our margin of error is 23.63115,989. Sample 2, the average land size of houses sold by Nelson from the sample, we are 95% confident based on our sample of the population that the average land size of houses sold by Nelson is 286.21429 metres. Looking at the data we are provided, the confidence level 95% is 98.446257773. In other words, again, our margin of error is 98.446257773. The margin of error looks at how accurate your confidence interval is, and based on the two confidence intervals taken, you can see that the margin of error grows based on whether the confidence interval is conducted from the population or a sample of the population. Another example of this is the average price for all listings. The sample one was the price of homes sold from the population. We are 95% confident based on the information provided that the mean is 476.38, with a confidence level 95% / margin of error of $9,662.31. Sample 2, the price of homes sold from the sample of 90, we are 95% confident based on the information provided that the mean is 1118836.10 with a confidence level / margin of error of $113,428.28. From the population of 17,691 listings, hypothesis testing was done to find out if the following statements are to be accepted or whether they should be rejected. A hypothesis test was to find out if the following statement is true. It is often felt that the average price in dollars for PI listings is more than the average for sold prior listings. The null hypothesis was rejected based on the T-stat being higher than the T-critical value. Therefore, the alternative hypothesis was accepted. Another hypothesis test was taken to find out the following statement being true. If it is often felt that the average price would be different for more bathrooms, the null hypothesis was rejected based on the T-stat being higher than the T-critical value. Therefore, the alternative hypothesis was accepted. A regression analysis was investigated to find the relationship between the distance from the CBD and the price. A scatterplot was created to show whether there was a relationship based on the type of scatterplot that was formed. From the scatterplot, we can see that due to the R value being 0, there was no correlation between these two listing details. Further analysis was done to test the hypothesis that there is no linear relationship between the distance and the relationship between the distance, which was confirmed with the hypothesis being rejected on the basis that the p-value was lower than the alpha significance level of 0.05. In conclusion, Assignment 2, major assignment, we had the opportunity to look over an Excel data set containing listing details of houses sold in Melbourne from January 2016 to March 2018. From the 17,691 listings, they were broken down into different variables, which were then used in descriptive statistics to summarise the data given. The use of tabular techniques, summary statistics, and graphical techniques were used to give context to many of the variables listed. A dashboard was created to further comprehend the different variables in various ways, such as the relationship between the prices of homes purchased, sales by payment type, types of homes sold by different real estate agents, the sales by number of bathrooms, and sales by number of bedrooms. Please note, this data is reflective of sales of homes from January 2016 to March 2018, and therefore it is not accurate to current listing details of homes sold in Melbourne. Confidence intervals were created to explain the meaning of confidence intervals for the following: the average land size for the selling agent Nelson only, and being the average price for all listings. The findings simplified where the confidence intervals for the entire population were far more accurate than the listings from the sample population taken from the entire population. Hypothesis tests were then taken to consider whether the following statements were to be accepted or rejected. The first statement that the average price in dollars for PI listings is more than the average for sold prior listings was rejected based on the T-stat being higher than the T-critical value. Therefore, the alternative hypothesis was accepted. The second statement being the average price would be different for more bathrooms was tested and was also rejected based on the T-stat being higher than the T-critical value. Therefore, the alternative hypothesis was accepted. The regression analysis showed that the relationship between the distance from the CBD and the price did not have any linear relationship, and from the hypothesis testing done showed that the hypothesis was to be rejected on the basis that the significance level / the alpha was lower than the p-value. From the data collected, there were several limitations, one being the data being old and not relevant to current listing details of homes sold in Melbourne, and 2, with reference to the 95% confidence intervals, the sample size for the population was not accurate based on the small sample taken of 90 from the 17,691 listings. Thank you.